Hey guys, Jawa here. I've been doing a lot of work on the Origami Yoda Expanded Universe website recently, so I thought I'd make an updated version of JC's old EU timeline video to prepare for the release of Twilight of the Student, the final case file in the main EU timeline, but more on that later. Let's get started by going over the basics. Let's start off with the most obvious stories in the timeline, the official Origami Yoda series. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail with these just because if you're watching this video, you've probably read them already. The main series is comprised of 6 books: The Strange Case of Origami Yoda, Darth Paper Strikes Back, The Secret of the Fortune Wookiee, The Surprise Attack of Jabba the Puppet, Princess Label Maker to the Rescue, and Emperor Pickleteen Rides the Bus. There's also an activity book, R2-D2's Guide to Folding and Doodling. However, you don't have to read that book to understand the rest of the Origami Yoda continuity. The main expanding universe timeline is called Rise of the Bounty Hunters and takes place after the events of Emperor Pickleteen Rides the Bus. It's comprised of 26 episodes and 3 volumes. The first and second volumes contain 10 episodes each, while the third volume only contains 6. The first volume starts with the rise of Jango Fortune and ends with the month of the Skyfolders. There are several notable events that occur in these first stories that will have an impact throughout the rest of the EU, such as Jacob Mitch's first appearance, as well as the introduction of the Magic Skittles plot device. So make sure you read these carefully. Volume 2 begins with the cleverly titled Origami Yoda and the Bounty Hunters, and ends with the equally clever title, The End This Is. A few things occur in this volume, but most notably Vernon O'Brien's first appearance. The final volume of the main EU canon is known as The School Awakens, and was started just a few months after The Force Awakens was released. It chronicles the end of the main EU timeline and ties up all, or most, loose ends in the Bounty Hunter saga. This volume has also been called Journey to the School Awakens, but was renamed after the final story was changed to Twilight of the Student. Legends is a section of the EU where all non-canon Origami Yoda stories are placed. They have no effect on the overall story of the EU and are completely standalone. For an example, Close This Case is a story that I wrote about what happens to the Macquarie gang their senior year of high school. These are not required reading for the main timeline, however some of the stories are pretty interesting, and some of them can be pretty funny. There are 2 main spin-offs of the OYEU, the first one being the Marvel Origami Universe, or the MOU. It focuses on an entirely new group of students in New York at Kirby High School and Wheeler Academy. There are currently 2 phases, or folds as we call them, in the ongoing MOU. Fold 1 starts with the Invincible Iron Fold and goes through the first team-up that is the Orig Avengers. Fold 2 launched with the Imperfect Iron Fold and is currently ongoing. The MOU has 2 other sections, One-Shots and Elseworld Tales. One-Shots are stories that tie into the main MOU timeline but do not contain major events. They aren't required to understand the greater MOU, but they fill in some of the gaps left by the other main stories. Elseworld Tales are similar to Origami Yoda Legends in the sense that they're completely standalone and have no effect on the main timeline. They're kinda like Marvel's What If comics, but for the MOU. The second spin-off of the EU is the DC Origami Universe, or DCOU. This universe is still in the early stages of development and only contains 1 story as of this video, which is Batfold. The DCOU follows the same structure as the MOU, containing both the One-Shots and Elseworld sections. There are currently plans for many more DCOU stories, such as SuperFolder and Teen Folders. Now that we've covered the main sections of the EU, let's go over the final timeline. First, read the official Origami Yoda book series, and after you've done that, go over to the EU and read Rise of the Bounty Hunters and Legends if you would like to. The Marvel Origami Universe and DC Origami Universe run parallel with each other, however they both take place after Rise of the Bounty Hunters. And again, the One-Shots are recommended, and the Elseworlds are like Legends, so you don't have to read them unless you would like to. And that's the basic structure of the EU, the MOU, and the DCOU. I hope this video helped you understand the timelines a little bit better and how they're structured. May the folds be with you, and I will see you on the EU.